Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Josh, and I am joined by two very special guests. So I've got returning guest Harold from the Toons Podcast.
Yes, what's that?
And good friend Tom from Nerd on the Podcast.
What up, what up?
Is it Nerd on the Podcast? Yeah, it's like, or just podcast.
It gets everyone confused. Just Nerd On is fine, but the whole...
I'm sorry, what, one more time?
Nerd On is
Thank
fine, but Nerd On the Podcast is full.
Is the full thing. Because you also have like Nerd on...
TV.
Nerd on TV, Nerd on the Lunchbox, Nerd on the Blanket.
Mandalorian and the
Mandalorian. That was a
anything
good
we
one.
could pun it up.
Okay, so in the thing that I had sent out that I was telling you guys before we started recording, I used some puns in the pitch to the podcast thing that I was wanting to do. One of them, the one that I ended with was, hopefully you can help my dream works.
Oh my! You didn't send that yet, did you?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I also used
send me that and I'll vet it for you.
I also used the podcast abilities are endless.
Oh, no.
Yikes!
Is that one bad too? Are they both bad?
Maybe don't use the pun.
Look,
at all.
if there is a, hiring version of you, aces. You're in spades. You got the job.
If they have a Josh there, for sure.
But if it's
I'm
other
hoping.
people who like, oh man, one pun goes a long way.
Maybe not the last one, but I think the podcast abilities are endless is a good one. That one's
Maybe
not
just
terrible.
only have one in there.
If I have one, do I use that one or the
Oh,
I
I think
man.
that gets you an interview. I think it gets
Okay.
you an interview.
Yeah, that's cute. It is cute.
but not
Either
the other
one,
one.
really.
The other one's bad. Like
I mean, I think they're gonna be like, wow, I wonder how. Like, that's the first time we've read that.
that's what I'm hoping for. Like, this kid's an innovator.
Who is this doofus? We gotta hire
Betting
him.
us.
So we're here today. We are going to be talking about the new Cartoon Saloon animated film, Wolfwalkers. Big thank you to GKIDS for sending us screeners. Very nice of you. Appreciate it. Please send us more whenever more Cartoon Saloon things come out.
Gang, gang.
We'll definitely, I will gladly review anything Cartoon Saloon.
For sure, dude. I gotta watch all their stuff. I've only seen Song of the Sea besides this.
Dude, you need to watch Secret of
But
Kells.
Song of the Sea is so good. I know you're telling me that one was good too. So I'm
Kells
like,
is
dang.
so good. Yeah.
I
That's
gotta
one
watch
more than
Earth
me.
Thing.
So you're by far ahead of me, Harold. So
I'll watch double the movies.
The Breadwinners is good too. Like that's one
Right.
that'll make you cry though.
Uh-oh.
I like crying.
It don't take much. I'll tell you that much.
It's healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got teary-eyed, or I may have cried. I don't remember. I say I cried. I cried in Wolfwalker. I mean, not Wolfwalkers. In Song of the Sea.
Yeah.
But I don't think I did in Kells.
That's reassuring.
Yeah. It's more of a like, oh, movie.
No, yeah, this is my first like experience with Cartoon Saloon, and so watching this was very like interesting because in a IP saturated world with a lot of different cartoons and styles from big studios, seeing something like this was very novel for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very I'm very appreciative and grateful for having to watch this film because I was like, I'm just not used to this like art
Right.
style, and
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And to hear that there's more films before it and hopefully more films after this, like we get to see a little bit more of like the Cartoon Saloon style go into the mainstream more often.
Mm-hmm. Right now we're gonna do like pretty non-spoiler stuff. This is gonna be the end of the non-spoiler. If you haven't watched Wolfwalkers yet, you still may be able to check it out in theaters. It does premiere on the Apple TV Plus on December 11th, so you can watch it there. So just quick thoughts from everybody. Would you recommend this movie? Like, what would you rate this movie?
Non-spoiler.
You would rate it non-spoiler?
I mean, I was gonna say I want to give some emphasis and be like, okay, what does a B or what does an A mean to this guy? For me, I give this a solid A. In all honesty, like originality and then lessons for families to talk to their kids about. Even though there might be things that are like not normally seen in like, I guess, family animated films, because this one tends to have some intense moments, and I like that. And I think the film treats its audience, which is, again, catered towards families, but also for children, and doesn't treat them like children. It treats them like they're smart, learning, growing people. And I really, really enjoy that. So I look forward to those kind of films that kind of aren't just like brain candy, that aren't just, like cute thing and there's, songs. So I was like, I really like, I recommend this highly. It doesn't matter how old you are. Like, I recommend you watch it just to also just expand your palette upon what animation has to give you.
Yeah. I'll go. I will give this I'm gonna give this a solid 5. I hope that we all do different grading scales.
Okay, I was gonna say,
out of 10?
Yeah, I hope we do. Out of 5, like that's how we used to do the old Animation Station podcast. We did out of 5s.
Okay.
So I would give this a nice 5. There wasn't anything. Yeah, out of 5. Out of 638. No, 5 out of 5. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I thought the stylization they did with the animation was I loved it. And it's not something we had seen from the other 2 movies, because that's not the way it is in Kells, and it's not the way it is in Song of the Sea. Kells is more almost like 3D-esque than this one. This one it gives you that like original animation feel, kind of like that Xerox quality that they did with like 101 Dalmatians, where you can like see like the sketching of the dogs and everything. Like that's the only thing. It's the easiest thing for me to kind of like reference it to. That's kind of like mainstream, is like the 1960s 101 Dalmatians. But I thought the music was good. There's one like pop song in this that's, and it fits well in the movie. It doesn't feel like it's shoehorned in, like, unfortunately, what they did with Klaus. I mean, that's not Cartoon Saloon, it's Netflix, but still.
I was like, is this the same people?
No. Klaus was great. The whole entire movie was fantastic until they just randomly inserted like a pop song, and you're just like, you've not had a single this, and it like takes you out of the movie for a sec.
Netflix execs were like, kids love this.
Yeah, they were like, kids won't pop. And then but this one, like, it fits. I will say, like, I was thinking, we'll talk about it later. I loved, I thought the voice acting was good. There were some bits I did have some problems with some stuff, and we'll talk about that when we go into non-spoilers. But yeah, I would give it a strong 5 out of 5. Or
nice.
Because I mean, I round up because I don't do points. I don't give like 4.5 or anything like that.
What kind of show does that? I mean, that's weird, right?
I don't know. I mean, I wish we could. I want to kind of go like the old like spill.com. Do you guys ever watch spill.com?
No.
Teach me. Learn me some.
Okay.
What's
so
spill.com?
They basically did like movie reviews and everything. Like they worked for like Ain't It Cool News down in Austin for a while. It was like the 2 guys that did. I think they're currently still doing Double Toasted. They do film reviews and everything.
Okay. Yeah.
And C. Robert Cargill was there. Cargill. He was Carlisle on Spill. But they would do this thing. It was like, is it a full price? Is it a matinee? Or is it just a rental? And that's how they would kind of like, that was like their grading system. And it's like, what would you rate this? And be like, I mean, I think this is a full price. Because like that way it's like, would you spend money to see this in a theater?
Right.
Yeah. And at least I want to hear Harold's thing, but I want to talk a little bit about that. I like the conversation of like cool. where our money goes into and how we support.
You know what? I'm going to do that from now on. I'm taking it from Spill and probably Double Toasted still. I'm going to give it a full price.
Yeah, Double Toasted does do that.
Yeah.
2 rating systems
I did
now?
2 rating systems.
Wow.
Now, Harold, you have to do at least 3 rating systems because 1, 2, 3. And all 3 of them have to be different.
Okay.
No pressure.
All right. For my first one, I'll get it 7 out of 7 chili peppers.
Okay.
I will give
How many Anthony Kiedis's is that?
That's definitely 4 out of 4 fleas for sure.
Okay.
How many tomatoes?
6 out of 6 tomatoes, baby.
Oh.
It's just good, man. Like it's I've only seen, like I'd mentioned earlier, I'd only seen Song of the Sea besides this, but the exact stuff that stuck out to Josh is the things that I really liked. It's like the imperfections, I guess. They show like the drafting lines are still in, and like I just like in my day job I work with artists, so it's like cool to like have that mindset whenever we talked about like Song of the Sea and stuff like that. And so that was probably something that wouldn't necessarily have stuck out to me like in that way if I hadn't talked to artists and them, you know, kind of educating me of like, man, this is like cool to see like a subtle hint of like that stuff left in. And it's just like a signature part of the animation. I thought the story was great. I think the song was by Aurora. Is that who it was?
Yes.
The pop song. And I thought that exactly what you said. Like it was included in a way that like felt really natural to the plot. We can get that a little bit more when we're talking about it, but yeah, I just love that too, that it didn't feel like it was just like kind of mashed in there. And I liked that. So the only other one I'd mentioned was Song of the Sea that I'd seen. They kept the theme going of like having a big time, at least one big time name that people will know. Brendan Gleeson, I think, was in Song of the Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one's we get Mr. Sean Bean, which is cool.
I think Brendan Gleeson was in Kells as well.
Was he?
I think he
Very
was in
cool.
both.
There's always like a very cool like flair of like Irish culture as well, which I believe the studio is Irish.
Yeah, it's in Kilkenny,
And
conveniently
so,
where this film took place.
Yeah, and so that's pretty cool too, man. Just to kind of learn about that with something like Song of the Sea, you learn about Selkies, and that's like something that's relevant to the culture. And then with this, it's just like has something to do with like folk in Ireland, I believe. But it's pretty cool, man. Like I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I would like it more than Song of the Sea, but man, it's up there. I don't know if I like it more or not. I have to decide to ruminate on it a little bit.
Would you say this is like kind of becoming like an Irish like Ghibli? You know?
Yeah, like they're,
mean,
they're
like it's
definitely
focused in that region. You know,
Honestly, yeah.
And so
I could
like,
totally see that.
and it's like a little bit, you know, like Ghibli has a little bit more Shintoism, and this has a little bit more of like what their belief systems are. So like that was the big thing that I really like. I was like, oh my goodness, we can talk about this in a children's movie.
Yeah,
and I
really
love
neat.
that. And to me, I was just
Yeah.
like, wow. I like as a kid, I would be like, I was really dumb. So I was like, man, kids today must be really smart.
yeah,
They
like
probably are.
because like the first like Secret of Kells that is involving like the Book of Kells, which is like this big book. It's very ornate Catholic thing. And so like the whole like the crux of that is like a boy who's in the priesthood who goes into like the woods, like beyond, he goes in beyond town and he meets a fae, and so named Aishlin.
Wow.
And that is what the story is with them. And then in Song of the Sea, there's a Celtie who's turn into a seal whenever they put this coat on. So the women turn into seals. So that's the whole crush of that. Like we've got Irish folklore, and then in Wolfwalkers, Irish folklore with the Wolfwalkers.
But
Very
I
cool.
do like there is like a sense of religion involved.
Yes.
And I think a lot of studios are very afraid to have that in there because they want to remain homogenous and maintain like a massive appealing like factor. And you know, religion, it will, you know, a lot of people fear that it will divide like an audience in half, but where I think you have the ability to talk about a perspective of how people kind of grew up to be, it becomes what I think the animated stories were originally, which were folklore and stories of morals and ways that we can tell, like have people and children learn how to address their feelings and learn like why the world works in ways that are comfortable. And that's what I really, really loved from this.
The lore in Ireland especially is very important to the people that live there as well. I'd read about because when there was like the English takeover and things like with battles going on whenever, you know, back in the day, the way that they passed along a lot of these folklore, like, and a lot of the stories was verbal. And when the battle started happening, they started basically like a lot of their culture got erased because the people weren't around to tell those stories anymore. And so
that
was like a very it was like a religious thing when talking about fairies and selkies and things like that was like almost very integral to their culture as religion. And because it got lost over so much time, when it started coming back, it's kind of viewed as like, oh, that's just like a fun story, like fairies is fake. But to them, that was like their culture, and like it was integral to their culture as much as religion.
And I'm glad it is, it was written down, because that happens a lot with like oral histories and oral religions, where once, it's like, it's not like once the people are gone that know it, then that's it.
That's
like,
it's crazy.
It's gone
man.
forever.
Like it's nuts.
And I do like what you kind of touched on it too with the spoilers from here on out. We're going spoilers now.
All right, let's go.
Spoilers, yes. Okay, cool. Easy.
Last bit out of red, I would give this movie Gokujan. That's where I would give this movie. I would give it a solid Gokujan. Well, you kind of touched on it a little bit, Harold. There is, like you were talking about, or you mentioned the how the English were coming over, and we do get that because Bill,
the Lord Commander,
Bill Goodfellow, and Robin, they're English.
Yeah,
right. They're
Lord
in
Protector.
Ireland there, and the Lord Protector, because they're all English. And I thought it was nice that we got to see a little bit of that, and you get to see all of the Irish people being like, these dirty English coming over here, except Irish. So I'm not gonna attempt a terrible Irish accent, but so like you get to see that, and which is nice, and you get to see like what Tom, you mentioned, like the religious aspect that is not shied away from, just like in Secret of Kells, like it is not shied away from that. These are like Catholics, and they are like very strong in their faith, and if you go against like the church, it's like it's going against God, and you're a heathen, and you're probably
work is prayer.
Yeah, it's like that's terrible. Like, you don't do that. So I do like that it's kind of like what Leica does here, where Leica doesn't, like, they don't shy away from topics like in Paranorman. They mentioned they were like, oh yeah, like this kid's gay and he's got a boyfriend. Like one of the first like animated movies to just be like, oh yeah, no, it's just a kid's gay, he's got a boyfriend, whatever. This girl's been hitting on him the whole time. And they were just like, yeah, there you go, it's normal, who cares? So like it's kind of like what Leica does, and like Leica is always not afraid to like push the envelope, and I feel that's what Cartoon Saloon does as well. Like they're not afraid to push that envelope to give us the best animation and the best storytelling that we can get.
Yeah, and it's like without, having to point fingers or make like broad strokes or anything like that. It's like a lot. I think what happens with feature films, particularly in animation, what happens is like you have this very, very kind of like faux pas progressive like feel to it, not agenda, but more like this is the idealist of the film, but it kind of like always tends to support like an idea of status quo. And then nothing really changes, whether its characters don't develop or that the world doesn't change. And where here it kind of like experience where it's more of like just trying to tell a story that has nuance and can talk about the things that are kind of relevant to the world that the audience should be listening in or watching to.
Yeah, it was like very much got that vibe early on that it was like you can kind of see where the story's going a little bit. Not that it was like predictable by any means, but you can you're like, oh, okay, this is what we're kind of going for. It's like the people fear what they don't understand, people hate what they don't understand type of thing. I got that vibe pretty early on, and it stayed true pretty well throughout, but the exposition was really good. In the way that they approached it. It was novel in that way.
I am gonna go kind of like hop on what you said about the story. I did feel that it was kind of predictable. The moment that like she bit her and it was like, oh, this, like we start seeing like the things going down on her arm, I was like, oh, she's gonna turn into a wolf. Which if you had not seen the previews, spoilers.
Yes.
But
we're already in spoilers. It's fine.
She's gonna be walking with the wolves
spoiler
now.
for the movie itself.
Yeah.
Walks with wolves instead of dances with wolves.
You know what? Might as well. That's what they were just doing. They were just like, how can we do dances with wolves? What about
They're just
like,
Kevin Costner fans. Cartoon Saloon, like they
might
can't.
as well. Leisurely jaunt with wolves. So like I like that was like I felt like that was a little bit like it's like, oh yeah, she's gonna turn into a wolf, and then you know, obviously dad's probably more than likely gonna get turned into a wolf. Like
Yeah,
I like
that's
I was
true.
just kind of waiting for that to happen. My only other complaint with it was, and I don't know, this may because this was an early screener for it, so it may have been like an early build, but I thought the sound was off. Like if there's a part when Robin is going back after Merlin gets hit, and like her dad's like, you have to go off, and the Lord Protector is
Go to
like,
the scullery.
yeah, you got to go to the
Yeah.
scullery.
Had to look up what that was.
uh is the kitchens. It's like she had to go to the scullery, and she's walking with the guy who's like in the cage with all the sheep, and she lets him out, and then the music swells, and then like the other, like the guards and like the other farmers, they're talking, and it was really hard to hear what they were saying.
They were like they were put on a lower level
Yes.
instead of the music. Yeah, I
Exactly.
kind of felt a little bit like that throughout that
Didn't think
entire
about that.
scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scene was
like-
kind of weird like that.
Like
yeah.
the guy in the cage, I felt like I was like I couldn't really hear him, so I had to like rewind a little bit
Yeah.
before. So
and
no, yeah, I kind
unfortunately,
of felt
the
that way
screener,
too. Where
I couldn't
No.
find captions.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I
Ooh.
wanted to go back and hear.
I didn't even think about
what it
that.
Was like, I was
I'm
like,
old
I
man.
missed something.
I do captions all day.
Same, big same.
No, I felt a little bit that way too. And so when you guys were talking about it in the non-spoiler about like seeing some of the drawing lines, and I was like, again, this is like might be an early version. So I was like, maybe that gets cleaned up, because I watched the trailer and I don't think you see those same lines.
No,
And
they're
so
not as pronounced.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so like for me, like I don't know if that's within their style. And so when you guys started bringing up like 101 Dalmatians, again, I defer to both of you in terms of the prowess of animation knowledge. I mainly look at like the story and the writing and all that stuff. But to your point of like feeling that the story is a little predictable, it's funny that you brought up Leica. They also did Kubo, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's, for me, I thought that was my favorite animated film that year, and it lost out to
Same.
Zootopia. And a lot of the people felt that the story was quote unquote too predictable, too simple. And I think there is a level of course, the story is like, this is the thing, go get the thing.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like, okay, cool, we're going on. Okay, in order to do this, there's a but that, and then however this has to happen, and this kind of like road trip feeling of the plot that I think a lot of 3D animated films tend to do. So it feels like it's live and vibrant. But I think this in that same light of like, is it too predictable? But I think the plot is very straightforward, but it's because I think it left a lot of room for the nuance to be in there.
Yeah.
Because they throw in a lot of Irish verbiage that I was like, wait, excuse me, what did you say? And then I paused the film and I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, that means like very good. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, and those are the things that I'm like, I like it when I kind of don't know everything about the film. I think a lot of people find it that it's alienating, but for me, it makes me feel like there is a world in this animated world that is reflective of my real world that I don't know yet. So like, I don't know like Gaelic terms, and the fact that the film has it is unafraid. It's willing to have that risk and say like, hey, look, there's a language that you don't know yet, but once you do, it unlocks more magic for you.
So you're telling me you have not read The Irish Country Doctor or An
No.
Irish Country Christmas?
No. And when
But
Million Dollar
how do
Baby
you-
came out, Mokushla, I'm like, what is, excuse me, what'd you call
But
me?
how are you going to know how to get to Billy Borough?
Google Maps.
Okay, that's fair. Well, this is also like the
Google.
1800s. So like, they didn't have this.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Sorry, I
I was
only
gonna
bring up
say-
the Irish Country Doctor because I read like a little thing for an audition. It was like, give us a thing in an Irish accent. So like, it's like this doctor, he's trying to find where to go. And so like, Charlie gave it to me and I was like reading it. And like this whole scene is like, he goes, like, it's just this rural area. And he meets this kid and the kid's like, oh yeah, you go past the barn. And if, when you hit the cow, like if you see the cow, you've gone too far. But sometimes, but the cow could be in for milking, if that could happen. And it's just this whole like long rambling thing that I just got to do, and it was just like it was fun. But it was funny because like the whole thing was like, I'm looking for Billy Ballyborough, and he's like, Billy Ballyborough. I was like, yeah, Billy Ballyborough. I was like, you mean Billy Ballyborough? He's like, yeah, Billy Ballyborough. And it's just sorry. Go ahead, please.
Harold.
No, please continue, Josh. No, I'm just kidding.
But no, yeah,
I'm just kidding. Please don't ever bring that up again.
No more Irish Tender Dog. I got it.
Give that the Irish goodbye.
I'll stick to Letterkenny jokes from now on.
I mean, I do want to say real quick before any more Billy Ballyborough, was the one thing you're talking about other films that Cartoon Saloon has done that made you want to cry. This made me kind of want to cry of anger.
Oh.
I was like, did anyone else want to punch the screen every time the dad got into frame because of just like, so I've had this long going argument with like my peers who I talk film about. I typically absolutely hate children in visual mediums because when they are not the main character, they are written as like weird, like just wanting to kill themselves creatures who like will run into traffic so that Spider-Man has to like swing and save them, or like will like climb an electric tower and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing these things? But when like
all of A Bridge to Terabithia, like the entire movie,
not gonna
constantly going to die,
and then in films where the child is the main character, then they're like a human being, and then all the adults are dumb, which is fine for me because I think within storytelling there is room for children ingenuity, where they just think things differently because they don't understand like the consequences of the real world, which I'm totally fine with. And here it kind of just gets played to the nth degree of like the father character Bill Goodfellow is just like, what are you talking about? I'm so scared for you. And I was like, shut up and let her talk. Just let her talk.
I know he kept interrupting her. I'm like, bro, come on.
Dude, yeah, because I was just like, every time I kept getting up on my seat. I'm like, oh my. But then also you have to remember, this is 1650. And so like, what rights did children or, non-male soldiers have? So obviously it wasn't, it didn't work out well no matter what.
To be fair.
Okay. Are you going to apologize for this?
I'm going to be a Bill Goodfellow apologist here.
Oh my God! Here it comes.
So to be fair, Sean Bean knows that something is going to happen. Like if his daughter is in danger, he's going to have to sacrifice himself for his daughter. And Sean Bean doesn't want to die again.
He has died.
Sean Bean has died a lot.
If there's anyone that knows about dying,
think of the last family that Sean Bean had. The Starks, all dead, primarily.
No.
1, 2. Spoilers, everyone. 2 people. Everyone else survived and became lords of their own.
His wife died. Rob
and then
died.
One son, that's 2 people. And then his daughters are alive.
His entire house died.
No, his house is dead. One of his sons are alive. He probably's got a brother no one knows about.
I mean, Bran is in a wheelchair. He can't do anything. He can't sire a son. Tyrion was king.
Wow.
Tyrion was
king
very
of Westeros.
That's ableist.
But Tyrion let us know quite a lot that Bran could not have a kid, and so did Sansa. They were like all up on like he don't work.
But he's got the greatest stories.
He does have the greatest. Stories.
That's all that matters.
He has the greatest chapters in the books.
Yeah, I think he made a good choice. I think if he just did what Robin told him to do, she might have, been in a wheelchair, but had great stories. She's like,
Arya's gone. Rickon got shot by an arrow. He's dead. Sansa is.
No one even knew who
the
he
hell
was.
Cares.
True.
Arya's gonna go off and die.
Arya the Explorer?
Arya.
She's getting her own show, bro.
She's not gonna die.
Arya the Explorer with her backpack and her map. It's gonna be great.
Swiper, no swiping.
Bruh.
Is there what's like the they all died. His last we'll just say his last family, they didn't end well.
Sansa, Arya,
his nephew is
and
in
Jon
exile.
were the only ones that mattered.
I
That's true.
beg to differ.
Look, I'm
Rickon.
not saying that children don't matter, but I'm saying in that story, Robert Baratheon has how many other children? One child is the only one they talk about in the entire show.
Well, yeah, because Cersei killed the rest of them.
You don't know that.
She did.
There could be
Apparently
someone running
she-
around.
That was in
Apparently she
season
didn't know about
1.
one.
That's why Gendry's like off rowing.
Apparently she didn't know about one, so you don't know. Apologizing for
I am a Gendry apologist. Like that's my boy right there.
Dude, Gendry
Joe
was the
Dempsey's
man.
my man.
Keep that a
Anyway.
buck.
But yeah,
that
no,
Arya.
yeah. I think that was the only. You said get that buck. He is a antler man. Anyway, sorry, that was good puns. So yeah, that's. But no, I do agree with you. Like I thought like the characterization for Bill not listening at all was a little bit off. But Robin wasn't doing herself any favors.
I also look at
She
this.
is that girl of I'm gonna or that child character of I'm gonna go off and do whatever I want to do because I'm a child. That's what she does, and she shoots a bird.
But okay, so I look at it again from the writing perspective, right? What is it saying when it does that stuff? Is it telling adult audience members that, hey, start listening to the kids, especially when they're like distraught and they're crying and you're just like, I have to worry about you. It's like, well, hold on. Is there really a point of worrying about them if they're crying and they don't want to be with you anymore? Because then you're just keeping someone captive. And which is Robin's whole story, is that within her religion, within where she lives, and even within her house, she is a prisoner.
Yeah.
And she says that at the very end.
I'm in a cage, bro.
She's in a
That got
cage,
me.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
and so
dang.
you know, like she just does whatever she wants. It's like, hey, look, if every other Disney princess can cry to their dad about how they want to be free and then just get with the next guy they see, then Robin can go out and just hang out in the backyard. Okay,
Don't get me started with Disney princesses. Like I disagree with half of the Disney princesses that are Disney
Yeah.
princesses, man. Like some of them shouldn't be on there, and the one Welsh princess, she's not on there at all. It's garbage. It's terrible.
Who is a Welsh princess?
From Black Cauldron,
Oh yeah,
Elyon Way. She's
Yeah,
not
because-
there at all.
you know, because that movie didn't make money.
I know, but it doesn't matter.
Oh,
She should have been there.
Don't
She should
tell.
have been there.
Don't tell me who's never made a movie, who calls himself a filmmaker.
Oh, I guess we should have read the blurb about what this movie's about. A young apprentice hunter and her father journey to Ireland to help wipe out the last wolf pack. But everything changes when she befriends a free-spirited girl from a mysterious tribe rumored to transforms into wolves at night. I lost the plot
Wolves
there
at
for a
night.
second.
What is this?
Wolves by night. Wolves by night. At night, they
Oh.
turn into wolves, or just during the day, or if they can't get back to their body,
If they're
or just
asleep.
when they want to later. It was very like Frozen, how the rules of magic work.
Yeah, it was. They were kind of moving the goalposts there,
They're like,
weren't they?
We can only be wolves when it's at night, and you're like, okay, cool. Like when we sleep, and you're like, okay, nifty. And then it's like, I think that was Scottish actually. They were like, whatever. That's cool. And then it's like, oh, but if you just like really want to, you can also turn into one. And you're just like, okay, cool.
I mean,
Or, if you're just like, yeah, now's a good time. You just do it.
I mean, they didn't explain how healing powers worked.
True.
yeah, you gotta howl.
You just howl.
You
Yeah.
need 2 people to howl. You need 2 Wolfwalkers to
I
howl,
mean, you
and you're done.
could technically just use one
No, it didn't heal. Remember?
at any moment. No. You can do one because Mabe healed Merlin by herself.
That's
Oh,
a-
yeah.
that's
Maybe
a
it's 'cause it was a
That's
bird.
a bird. That doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Yeah,
not a
it's a
human,
living
it's
creature.
scale
Okay.
humans.
What was this
scale.
whole movie about? It was
Real
about
quick.
humans versus animals.
Real quick about Merlin. In Secret of Kells, the animal companion is a cat.
Mhm.
In Song of the Sea, it's a big, fluffy, shaggy dog. Correct,
Mhm.
Harold?
Yep. Yes.
And in this movie, it is a hawk. I love the fact that when they have animal sidekick characters, they don't Disneyfy the animal sidekick characters. I love that. They make them real, and I thoroughly enjoy that.
Is there like an Irish zodiac? Because I'm assuming they're going to go down the aisle of like, okay, next one's going to be a bull, or a sheep. I don't know. I'm just
probably a
saying.
sheep? I would love for it to be a
I wonder
sheep.
if those do have something to do with like folklore in Ireland, like those
That-
animals.
that
are
could be a
sacred or something.
thing.
That'd be
one
cool.
of them will be a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is the Cartoon Saloon did like Song of the Sea and this one is like the single dad thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing that was just like kind of interesting. Was like,
well,
huh,
we go
like,
from no parents to
that
single
theme.
dad to single dad.
Yeah.
So that was just like, huh? They like that little bit of exposition, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the thing
At
where
least they don't kill him on. Sorry, at least they don't kill him on screen. They don't
Fair
like
enough.
straight up Disney it when they're like, we just gonna kill him.
I mean, the thing is, like, that provides the ghost in writing, where it feels like the characters weren't thought of, before right when the movie starts. It's like,
Right.
okay, cool, they have a backstory.
It's like a lived-in world.
Exactly. And so, like, when the Bill says to Robin's, like, "This is our home now," and I was like, oh, okay, so they're new here, and it feels like, okay, this something's been going on, and they haven't been right since. And what has that been? And then when he says, "I promise your mother I'd always take care of you," and you're like, oh no. And so it's like, okay, then you could be a Bill apologist.
Mm-hmm. He just doesn't want to die.
He doesn't want to. It's not even he wants his daughter to survive. He's like, just don't kill me again, please.
Well, he knows. Like, it's a kids movie. They're not gonna kill the child.
But legit though, I almost thought he was gonna die when that last fight happened.
Yup.
And
I thought they were both gonna go over the edge.
He had that
I
blammy
was
on him
thinking.
though when he was going to shoot him.
yeah, exactly.
I thought he was going to take that L, but he didn't.
I was like,
also
and that-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, please.
The what was up with the villain? The Lord
Leopard
Commander. It
Protector.
looked like if you combined the Hunchback of Notre Dame and Pocahontas bad guy.
That's 100% accurate.
I was like, what is this?
He looks like well, I don't remember what his name was, Pocahontas, but like, what's his name in
Oh, I don't know.
He's got a cool name in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, but it's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
it's just
Governor
like,
Ratcliffe from
Governor
Pocahontas.
Ratcliffe.
that was the one.
Don't say his full name.
It is
Don't say his name.
Monsieur. There's 3 names to his name.
Oh my.
Monsignor
Monsignor. First
Something,
letter of the first name.
C. Hard C.
Man, I don't know.
It rhymes with Maud Frodo.
Claude.
Oh,
Rhymes with Maud Frodo.
isn't it like Judge
You had it. I saw it in your
I
mind's
almost
eye.
said Froyo, and it's not his name.
He was it. He was
What is it?
owner of
What
the
is it?
TCBY before
It's
that.
Monsignor Claude Frollo.
Frollo.
Bro,
Dang
yeah,
it.
that's it.
I was close with Froyo.
Dude, it reminded me of those guys. Like, I was like, did they do like the fusion dance?
They did.
Well, I mean, I think what you're talking about is that there is this archetypical kind of colonizing villain, right?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
kind of-
totally.
they're invoking and utilizing the audience's past history of like, okay, this is what the villain looks like. He's he comes in very quiet, he's very like still. And that was one thing particular that I really latched onto in this film was when Mabe and all the rest of the wolves move, it's like liquid. It's like very
Yes,
fluid.
It's very
And then
fluid. Yeah. It's
when
so cool.
humans move, it's like very bumpy, but when they're not in nature and stuff like that. So there was the stark contrast. And so we could see that happening, with his character versus, Bill Goodfellow, where it's like, blonde, nice looking trodden father versus like the Lord Protector. So
Yeah.
It is a stark contrast.
I did make I
Sorry.
did make that the note I made of whenever she first became a wolf. I said wolf mode activated. But like the scent trails that were like she was seeing, like that was so cool. I love that animation. Like whenever she's like in wolf mode or whatever.
Yeah.
It was dope.
Did you guys see that Eurovision movie with Will Ferrell?
Long.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah. Well, we say it's been a minute. That came out this year.
What?
yeah, it's the one with Rachel McAdams where
Yeah.
they're
Oh,
They
I'm
gave
thinking of a whole other movie.
Oh,
no, no.
Sorry.
this
Yeah.
this is like
Netflix.
with Rachel. Yeah, it It was a while ago when I watched it.
I'm thinking of something else.
So when they were playing with the Running with the Wolves,
Mhm.
there's the song in Eurovision that's Running with the Wolves, and I was kind of like, I wonder what happens. So I played that over that scene.
No.
It matches up perfectly,
Wow.
man. Like it is perfect. But it's more like a heavy. It's like, "We're running with the wolves," and it's just like they're still running and like
That's
playing and
funny.
everything. And I was like, it fits.
I hate
that
it.
song
I can't
did
help it.
fit, and
I
like
hate
that,
it and I love it.
That was
that
awesome.
song was perfect. Like that.
I love that scene.
of the songs in that movie. Like that's like.
Yeah, that was dope.
I think there's like that one and like one towards the end.
Yeah,
I might ruin it for you because when I watched it gave me like Twilight vibes, and not in a bad way.
Running through the woods.
So, question is Maeve is she Renesmee?
No, she'd be like Jacob Black.
Oh.
She'd be and in the books they're shapeshifters, not even really werewolves.
Oh,
It's
didn't
weird.
realize that.
It's dumb. It's dumb. Twilight has no sense. It's no sense.
dumb.
It's nonsensical in any type of lore. But the music of like it's the same kind of like downplayed, not like orchestral kind of feel where it's like there's not a lot of hard sounding things, but it's much more ethereal that's played throughout, which feels like very good when you're like running through the woods. You know what I mean? Like it feels closer to nature. So I was like, this feels a little. That's the one thing I would say that was done really well was like. Anytime of like the running in the woods stuff in Twilight, I was like, okay, this feels like it's normal in Washington, America.
I could see it. Like that would be like anywhere in the Pacific Northwest. I'm
yeah, exactly.
The same band that did the soundtrack for this or did the music for this did do the music in Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea. So it's like
be surprised.
Kind of has that through line. It seems like they have like the same kind of core group that they like to collaborate with.
Yeah, specifically the producers too.
Yeah.
Because
this
so.
was
I mean, it's like
Tom
they figured out the
Moore
formula.
And
Ross Stewart directed.
okay, yeah.
And then Paul Young, was a producer. I think produced all 3 films before. The ones that you mentioned.
They're like, dude, let's not mess the formula up.
Yeah, because I think Breadwinner was Nora Tromwe, I believe, and executive produced by Angelina Jolie.
Oh.
Fun facts for you.
Huh.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that was one of the funny things whenever I was like looking up the notes because I'm like atrocious at remembering the name. So when I was looking it up, it was like Ireland, Luxembourg, France co-production. I was like, what the heck? Like, they freaking collabed?
Well, it's like when we would do those Norwegian films.
Man, I knew you were gonna bring.
We
that
did a
up
lot
somehow.
of stuff, and when we were in the ASP, a lot of like very very indie like Norwegian. It's not Norwegian. They were Swedish. Swedish films, and they were great. There was this one scene where a boy goes in this one movie.
I literally was just thinking of that scene.
a boy goes.
That's
missing.
insane.
A boy goes missing, and her mom's a cop, and that was Agatha Christine, the spy next door.
Wow.
Her mom's like, we're gonna she's. They're like, we can't find the boy. We've looked all across the borough or the fjord or wherever, and it's like, we're gonna call Denmark, and I'm like,
call a whole other country.
Like, just like, I just want to be like, just picks up the phone, *9, Denmark, it's us.
Hey, y'all seen him? Yo,
it's Sweden.
Y'all seen this fool?
Have you checked your fjords recent? I don't know if there's fjords in Denmark. I don't know. What
I literally knew you were gonna bring that up. I was just thinking about that.
Because it's the best scene in the movie. It's like, I'm gonna call Denmark. Anyway, I want to talk about. I wanted to do a little bit with the cast. I'm gonna butcher names and pronunciations because, so we have Robin Goodfellow, played by Honor Krifse.
Was you sure it's not
make an R?
I was like Neefsey.
Does the N make an R?
Oh, and maybe Neefsey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote down. It looks like an R. It should be an N.
There it is.
Yeah, Neefsey. Then we have Mabe, who is played by Erica Whittaker.
Eva
Whittaker.
Your penmanship is on
What
point.
did I say? What did I
It's
say?
sus.
You said Era?
I thought I said Ava.
Mm,
Oh,
no.
It's not what I heard, mi amigo.
We got a different Zoom filter going on right now.
I cannot follow you
In
into the
my
dark, Ben
mind,
Gibbard.
I read it as Ava, but Eva sounds better. We have Bill Goodfellow, voiced by Sean Bean.
Okay. I was gonna say Sheen Bond.
I
okay.
honestly
Bean.
tried to mess up Bean like I do with Johnny Deep. I call him Deep all the time, but like I messed up and I actually said Bean. I should have said Sean Ben. We have the Lord Protector as Simon McBurney, and then Mabe's mother, Maul as Maria Doyle Kennedy. Yeah, Maul.
I think it's Mall.
Maul.
Like Molly.
Like mall.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Or like a shopping mall.
And
Like
I
Molly
probably messed up
Ringwald?
with Mabe's name. Just
No, it's
because-
Mabe.
It is Mabe? Okay.
Yeah, they say it sounds like Maeve, but it's Mabe.
It does. Yeah.
I thought that too, yeah.
And it's like spelled MEHB.
And
it's like
yeah.
MEBH.
MEBH.
Do you need to go to the hospital? I'm like worried about my guy right now.
I'm just here reading the comments.
What is umlaut O in Irish?
Oh man, it could be an H sound for all I know,
Who
man.
knows?
Like hog. I wish I could. Okay, so one of my people that I know through the podcast, I call him a friend. He works at DreamWorks.
Nice.
His name is Tom Caulfield. He
Must be
used to
good.
work at Cartoon Saloon.
Oh,
he worked
wow.
at Cartoon Saloon
Cool.
back in the day. Now he works at DreamWorks.
Very cool.
We were gonna have him on, but he felt like it would be like a conflict of
little too close.
interest because he worked
What?
at Cartoon
You can't like
Saloon.
other stuff other than
I don't know.
DreamWorks?
I'm just kind of like, bro, you didn't work on this. It's okay. But he he
You're-
knows Tom personally, so it's like, okay, yeah, well, we'll just kind of,
Dope.
Tom knows Tom, conveniently. So he didn't want to be it, but I should have asked him to be like, help me. So he could have like, because he could have like actually given me like
How do you say
Irish
this?
pronunciations on all the names because he's Irish, and it's like it
Right.
would have been perfect. But yeah, so Tom, if you're listening,
There's another Tom waiting for you.
I say
there's
he's
another
right
Tom
there.
waiting.
There's
Oh,
another
we got
Tom.
3 Toms. We could
Tom
have
waits.
had double Tom.
Oh man, so
had-
much Tom.
And then if we got Tom Moore, we could have had 3 Toms.
It would have been a Tom of fun. Ba-da-ba.
That was a Josh level pun.
It was.
It would have been automatic good times. Ba-da-ba.
Wait, did you just say automatic?
Automatic.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
That one went over his head.
like maybe like an automatic.
Yeah.
Okay,
I just didn't want
I
to
can't.
go. I didn't want to go too hard to the paint. You know what I'm saying?
I like I misheard, just like you guys misheard when I said Eva. So
Tomato.
anyway, so yeah, I definitely stick with my my previous ranking of the film. Is it my favorite? Probably not.
Favorite compared to what?
Of Cartoon Saloon?
Of the three.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
'Cause,
say.
They do a special thing in here where like in these movies where in Song of the Sea you actually see Aislinn, who is the main female character in Secret of Kells. She's in the bus because it's Halloween. She's in the bus that the 2 main characters from Song of the Sea get in. So she
Oh,
just looks
cool.
like another kid dressed up.
Little Easter egg.
Yeah,
Nice.
so there's an Easter egg. And then there's an Easter egg in this one, and I should have watched Secret of Kells and Song of the Sea again, but when Maeve is like going through Robin's stuff when she first captures her, she pulls out a little thing, like a little circular blue, it almost looks like a coin rock like decoder thing, and like looks at it and then like throws it off.
Oh, that's
I'm
the
pretty
thing.
sure that's something from either Song of the Sea or Kells.
I think there
don't
was
know.
a little I don't want to give it away, but
Was it one of the things that like the
I think it
mom
was.
before
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought it was, but I
I
didn't
think
know
so.
for sure. We want you to watch these, Tom. That's why
I want to watch them too.
Please.
That's why we're not gonna do anything. But yeah, like I think that's what that was from.
I think
and
you're
so
right.
I was just
Wow.
like, oh,
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and so like I love that they do a little bit of, and she does say that Robin's like, let's go, like we've hunted all these different things, and she does say salties. which was the main
Oh.
thing from the last film.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
We
really
were talking
nice.
about dragons and all that.
Dragons and Celtics and stuff. Yeah, I thought it was. I'm interested to see what the new animal companion is going to be. I hope it is a sheep. I do hope it's a sheep.
That would be funny. The sheep in this movie killed me.
Yeah.
I don't know what all natural animals appear in Ireland.
Irish setters.
No snakes apparently, because St. Patrick got all them out.
They should make a movie about the last snake in Ireland.
Could be a rat.
I mean, the last snake in Ireland would be a druid, because I mean, like that's that whole thing. It's just a big metaphor. It's like he chased the snakes out of Ireland. He basically got rid of all the pagans and druids. And stuff
but
Ireland.
And that was interesting to talk about paganism in the film, where like I recently, this has nothing to do with wonderful children's and family programming. I recently watched Midsommar, and I was like,
oh my god!
And so
shout out
Ari
to
Aster,
A24.
yes. So all of Ari Aster's stuff is done talking about that, and maybe in a little way, Midsommar is a dark fairy tale, and
it really is,
and it has some of that pagan conversation in there, which again, to me, I'm here for it, where there's a little bit of like, hey, learn about, and that's why I think I really like Ghibli films. And if Cartoon Saloon is going to continue this trend of hey, the Irish culture, I'm here for it. And this would be like one of my I think one of my favorite animated films I've seen in a very, very long time, because even though like the plot is pretty predictable, like I'm very glad it didn't feel like, and again, I don't want to point fingers, but like usually animated films, it's like, but I could almost count on every moment. It's like, okay, we're 15 minutes in, we're going to get the first initial like inciting action. Okay, cool. We're 30 minutes in. Okay, this is where we're going to learn something about the secondary character, which challenges the main character. Okay, cool. We're an hour in. Okay, this is where the twist is going to happen, where it complicates the plot. Okay, we're almost done. So this is where we're actually see the true thesis of the film. And at the very end, it's like, okay, this is like the victory lap for like, this is how the world changed. Like, instead of where we got this, where like, again, that final sequence where the fight's happening, trying to revive mom, I was like, oh my, are they going to make it? What's going to happen? Like,
I was scared.
And like
no!
They played it fast and loose with the magic system to the point where it was unpredictable, to where like you didn't know if there was a time limit on needing to do the thing, or like how quickly the dad was going to turn, or like
he very slow. Like
what?
Robin was
it was like immediately.
It took her like 2 days to turn.
And he went like Super Saiyan. He got like mad and he was like,
but I mean, like Robin, like when she like first gets bit, she immediately starts seeing everything. And like it takes
I see what you mean.
Bill for when like he has to be like,
he turns around, yeah.
Yeah, he has to like physically like pick up Robin and be like, oh, you turned into a wolf.
But to apologize for Bill, he just didn't want to die. He was just trying to make sure he wasn't going to die.
Right. Yeah.
He was like gangrene.
Like I thought he was going to die so quick. Like at first, like when he shoots the mom, I was like, mom's dead.
Yeah.
Like she's gone.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be the rift.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is gonna be sad. And then I'm like, oh, she's not dead. She's just there. And then when she wasn't dead, I was like, okay, now Bill's gonna die. Like this is how it's gonna go. And then they were like, oh, we're just kidding. We're not going to kill either one of them.
Gotcha.
They're both going to join the pack. And you're like, what? Good job, Cartoon Saloon. You did. They did well. There is another thing coming up from Cartoon Saloon. It got pushed back a lot. It was supposed to come out early this year, but COVID kind of messed everything up. But it was supposed to be it's called Viking School.
Okay.
And it's Cartoon Saloon. It was supposed to be for Apple TV Plus, but I've not heard anything from it in a while. So hopefully GKIDS, not GKIDS, Cartoon Saloon, if you're still listening, hook a brother up.
They canceled it because it wasn't Irish.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, the Vikings did invade Ireland, and they were in Ireland for a long time.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Like during Alfred the Great's whole conquest or his unifying of England. Like
heavy-handed.
They were in there.
Quit hitting me over the head with your Irish heritage.
The history lessons.
It's the history lessons. Have you not watched The Last Kingdom? on Netflix.
Is that
It's
with
amazing.
is that with what's like his name? Who's the main guy in that?
Some German kid. Some German
Okay.
dude.
I thought it was what's his name? Timothy Chalamet. I thought he was in that
Oh
one.
no, that's some stupid thing. I don't care about that.
Okay.
But no, I'm talking about The Last Kingdom, which is about Vikings and stuff like that. And the dude's name, like, he's a German guy playing Uhtred of Bebenber. But the way he talks, like he's a German guy playing a northern Englishman from Northumbria who is raised by Saxons. So he's raised by Vikings.
It's like accents like all over the place.
His accent, he'll be like, my name is Uhtred of Bebenber, and that's the way he'll talk. And like when he's like introducing himself, but then like when he does like the previously on, or when he's like talking and he'll be like, I am Uhtred of Bebenber and I will do this for my kingdom. I will get back.
Is it Bill and Bury again?
No, but like, cause like this is England. But like, it's so weird because like his accent changes. Like when he's just talking to you, he does this like normal like English accent, but like he super pronunciates it when he's like fighting or whatever. He's like, I am this guy from this thing and this is so what took, and you're like, what accent is that? It is such a weird accent, but I love it.
He's like having an identity crisis
so much. Like it's so good. I did an audition with that voice.
Whoa.
And I didn't get it. But I did the audition because I was like, why not?
Worked for him.
What's the guy, Tom, do you have it pulled up? Like what's the guy who plays Uhtred?
His name is Alexander Draymond.
Yeah, he's awesome. Alexander,
also,
if you're listening, come on the show. I'd love to talk with you. It'd be great.
Dope.
Get his process.
I would be like, how did you become Uhtred? No, yeah. Sorry, I've derailed that whole entire thing.
That would
So
never
anyway,
happen, Josh. That would never happen.
Quality content.
Guys, thanks everybody. Any like last kind of wrap ups before we go?
One thing I wanted to mention earlier, we hadn't got to with like specific thing on the animation thing that I liked. It was like a small thing that I noticed, but I like the way that they carried on features of like the humans into the wolf forms.
Yeah.
The mom and the daughter both had like the 3 dots under their eyes, and then like the nose line was always like the thing that was like the eyes and the nose always like really carried over well. I was just like, dang, I like that small like thing that they did with the animation. I
did like whenever they showed the wolves' shadows. None of them had eyes.
That was cool.
That was so good. Like whenever we see a wolf shadow, there's just no eyes, and I thought that was so awesome. Like that was that, and like whenever the wolves are in motion, and
they're like waves.
It was wavy, yeah. And the way they animated fire too, that was cool.
And the wolves all look stupid too. Like they're all just like, like their mouths out.
Drones.
And just like, we're having fun. And I'm like, man, it must be great to be a wolf.
Part of the pack. I mean, for me, again, you guys definitely see a lot more animation than I do. It was just refreshing to see some 2D.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be the 3D animation style, which always has to have the rock eyebrows. And I just like enjoy. I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is how it feels like. And there was a moment where I was like having this surreal experience of like it felt like I was watching like a very good video games cutscene. And so when you're seeing some of the like when the trees are getting cut down or like when the moon rises up, and I was like, wow, this doesn't feel like a film. This feels like a cinematic sequence in like a trailer way, which I really enjoyed. And I know there's a lot that goes into like backgrounds and then like the keyframe animations and everything that goes in between all those things. So it was like a wonderful kind of viewing experience just for the eyes to kind of having to process that. One thing I just also really enjoyed is that like I really liked how they did the female character, Robin, and her growth of a character. And I think it's just kind of important to talk about that in a sense of like, she isn't cool all by herself. She's independent all by herself, and she is a human being all by herself, but it doesn't take away from the fact that she still needs to have a journey and a story to be a character. And I think that's where a lot of people fall into interesting places when they're writing female characters and trying to show like a protagonist who, how do you empower the women character but also give them room to grow. And I thought this film did it really, really, really well, especially with not a lot of female role models in the film, and the only one other than that is the old lady in the scullery, and she's like practically senile, and and the only thing
she's scaring us.
Yeah, and so what she has is Mabe's character, who is just now a foil, if not showing her like what life can be. So it again, it has that conservative conservationism conversation with nature and humankind and all that stuff. So there's a lot of very good like motifs and nuance in there that I just
Yeah, I thought both of our characters, Robin and Maeve, I thought they were fantastic. They had really good chemistry from the beginning. It was like from the beginning, I'm like, these two are going to be great friends. Like they kind of like clicked, because I mean, like there's playful banter between the two. There's teasing that goes on. I thought it was great.
Maeve is baller. How she
She's
took down so
awesome.
many those guards, I was like, yo, she could take down this whole town
That
if she
was
wanted.
sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was tight.
And when she's like coming back, she's like, I'm gonna come back with my wolves and we're gonna take down this town. I was like,
She's like, yeah, I'll go and see.
I was like, yo.
Is kind of like Mononoke-esque.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it was kind of like Princess Mononoke. Yeah. I like the way that they. Another small thing about like the animation, when they were barefoot, they had like this cool like gradient type look.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with
I
for the
thought that
dirt
was-
and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
thought
looked
that was
really
pretty
good.
cool too.
Did you guys? This may have just been me. The bully in the
Yeah.
movie that looked like 2D, right?
2D.
From the Gorillaz.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Totally looked like
Yeah.
I thought that like I got like a Powerpuff Girls vibe. for
Yeah.
some of
Oh,
the
yeah.
characters.
That's better. He does look like
Totally.
The Gangrene Gang
from the
guys?
Gorillas, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, "Is that 2D?" I was like, "Oh,
Dude,
he's
that's a
English,
good catch,
maybe."
brother. I didn't
Like,
even
I
think
saw- I
about
was
that.
like, I see you.
What? Just wait till the Gorillas. You have to kick out a new member, and then they bring that kid in there.
That kid in.
The bully.
I mean, they brought in the one kid from the Gangrene Gang. so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Ace or whatever it was.
Yeah, which I was like, what? I didn't know you could do this.
Those guys are like buddies, right?
Yeah.
Kennedy and that dude from the Gorillas.
Yeah.
Aren't they
Andy
like buddies?
Tartakovsky? Yeah. Oh, so cool.
Sick.
Guys, again, thanks so much for coming on. It was great. You guys are both welcome on anytime.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Let's start with Harold. Where can everybody find you social media wise and your podcast?
Sure. Yeah, you could follow me on social. It's just Harold Story, STOREY. The podcast, Toons Podcast, TUNES/TOONS. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, where you find your podcasts. Doing a good mix of like music that I like to talk to my friends about, albums that they really like, bands they really like, animation that we like, just different things, man. Just learning about people, why they love what they love.
Nice.
dope.
Tom?
Yeah, you could find me personally at Tall Dark Not Ugly on everything. But you could listen to more of the podcast that I come from, Nerd on the Podcast, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to your podcast. And just think of it like, like What's Up Fandom, but not as cool because we don't have Josh Cain and we don't have cool guests like Harold. So but we also like to just talk about things that that get our nerd on and celebrate the things, and we like to try to talk to cool guests who also get to celebrate the things they love to nerd on. So Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek loves to talk about My Neighbor Totoro. So that was a fun conversation we had.
Did you bring up that Cat Bus is the main character, like the best character in that film? And Totoro does absolutely nothing in that film.
No, we actually got into this deep psyche of why he loved the film, because he really loves the father character.
Really? Oh.
And how he wanted to be that kind of father to his daughters.
That's like incredibly
Deep.
specific and deep. Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
I was like, oh, here we are. We're in therapy sessions with Jonathan Frakes. it was cool, and so we get to go into that kind of stuff, which is always really fun because you get the guest who's like, here's Kevin Conroy talking about Batman. Okay, let's have him talk about his favorite film, which is a French film from the 1940s, and we're like, okay, we're doing this. So like it's very interesting to do that.
Or just like him talking about his time at Juilliard. just
With Robin
you know,
Williams.
and everything. Yeah, and then like the stage play that he was on, and like he and what's his face got really mad, and then I think he like something happened backstage and he got sick or something. Something weird. I don't remember. It was on a podcast I was listening to that I thought it was amazing. He was telling this. It may have been like Fat Man on Batman. He was telling the story, and I was just like, "This is the most amazing story I've ever heard." And I could just listen to Kevin Conroy today. But we'll put links and everything to both of their podcasts and social medias in the show notes. You can find them. Tom, if you want to do a new show, you could call it "Get Your Therapy On" with Jonathan Frakes, and he could be the host, and it'd be great.
Oh my god, that's good.
So, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh L. Cain. You can find the podcast on Instagram at What's Up Fandom, on Twitter at What's Up Fandom PC. All of our episodes are available iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube. You can go to YouTube and find us. We finally have video content now, and it's not just our audio with a static image. You can actually see things. I've got another Josh that does all of our editing there. He's great. There's so many Joshes, man.
We should get my Josh, your
Josh's
Josh,
and Tom's,
and Josh's and Tom's fight, and we just have a nerd off.
That would be amazing. That would be great.
Nerd off. Yeah,
nerd off. Can you guys have a nerd off? We also have the website animationstationpodcast.com. All three of us, everybody on iTunes and everything, be sure and like and subscribe and leave comments, because that's how people find out about the show, because that's how algorithms work. But guys, thank you all so much for coming on. It was fun. It's always good when I can get, fun people on. And we can talk about all the fun stuff, and then talk for like an hour beforehand about Josh's terrible life.
Privileged. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
No worries. So for What's Up Fandom, I'm Josh.
I'm Tom.
I'm Harold.
Bye, everybody.